10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, it is really, really good to see you guys again, even though, as we've been whining about, I still can't see you. The CFAA Capital Film Arts Alliance is happy to introduce another episode of CFAA Film Talk, which is our webcast to connect you with the people that are in our community that are making really cool things happen, that are working within the media, content production, and just all kinds of exciting things. So keeping you informed is the best thing that we can do. We are here. Our goal is to connect you, whether it's in person through events that we want to resume as soon as we can, or whether it is through our virtual Screenwriters Lab that takes place on the fourth Thursday of every month, or the webcasts that we have here. And then we also have archived on our website and on our YouTube channel. So people that you might have missed live, you can still catch up there. So please take advantage of that. And let's see what we have coming up other than our speaker tonight. There's some exciting events finally happening. Film is opening up, and we're kicking off the season with the annual Access Sacramento PCS, or Place Called Sacramento, film competition. So I know a lot of people that are actively engaged, and congratulations to those of you who already know that you won. And it's going to be really exciting to help you get your films rolling. We're going to talk a lot more about that. We're going to talk to the new director of Access Sacramento, Donna Girot. And Donna has come to Sacramento, I want to say about 6 months. But we'll get to know her a little bit about where she came from and what she's bringing to this soup, this alchemy that they're cooking over at Access Sacramento to just make it a bigger and better media center that can help support the needs of our community. So before we get to Donna, let's see, on May 17th, we also have a young filmmaker, Diodonis Moquette. Many of you may know Diodonis as someone who has really quickly worked himself up the ranks from literally film student to, an aspiring filmmaker, to a director who's now being featured in news clips about the projects that he's working on. And it's getting really excited to see his climb. So we want to kind of just tap into people that are doing cool things and share that with all of you. That's our gig. That's our jam. I'm Lori Peterson. I didn't introduce myself. If you don't already know me, I am the director of the Capital Film Arts Alliance. And we, once again, we're just a nonprofit association of other filmmakers just like you. Writers, actors, crew, all possible positions. And we're here to build a better mousetrap in the Northern California region. And we hope that we can share some fun stuff with you. So starting tonight, we have, I want to introduce Access Sacramento's, I need a drum roll, Donna Girot.
Wow, I get a drum roll? That is pretty cool, Lori. I don't think I've ever gotten a drum roll.
Just realized, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right.
It's Girot, like Al Jarreau, the jazz musician, but spelled differently.
That's what I said then. Okay,
yeah, cool. It's good. It's a soft G, that's all.
Good. So, yeah, we're live, which is cool. Anybody that is listening in or has a question or wants to just, like Shalene, say woohoo, we have a comment section that you can't see, so we'll feed anything to you if it requires an answer. Otherwise, everybody, we appreciate that you're here and you're watching, and you can check in with us to find out what's going on here in Sacramento, what's going on at Access. I want to know a little bit more about you before we really start talking about Access and that whole event coming up. But I don't know, 6 months, is that right? When you
Actually, I've been, you know, cloistered here for exactly a year.
it's been a year.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I don't know Sac County. I've been literally I drove here and just have dug into the company to try to basically help support it through COVID and make sure we try to get funding through COVID and then trying to reopen, you know, transitionally. So it's been a really weird beginning to a company. Normally I would, after being someplace a month, I would just sort of have an open house and let people, you know, chat me up. And so I could find out what's wrong with the organization and what's right with the organization. And so it's been a weird start. But I drove here from most recently, I managed a community media center that was unique in the country. It served Vermont communities and New Hampshire communities. And Vermont is very socialistic and people support each other. And New Hampshire is a real screw you, we're doing whatever we want to do. So a libertarian mentality. So to have those two things and have to deal with two types of government entities, because cable television has to deal with a lot of government. It was very exciting. So the only reason that got me here was because I became a grandparent and my daughter needed some support. So off to the West Coast I came. So
lucky you. And I'm sure you have already found out that it's the best job of the world ever is to be a grandparent. So
right.
I never knew that it was so much fun, and then you could give them back when you're tired. So
oh no, they live with me, so I can't.
God.
That's where I'm the financial support. That's okay. I'm loving it. I'm loving every single day.
No, that's so great that you have that opportunity. And why Sacramento?
My daughter has been studying to be a midwife here. She helps run a nonprofit called Welcome Home, and it's a small midwifery. They help people on Medi-Cal. You know, like they're really doing the good work. So I support that. You know, 100%.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And so she was already here.
Yeah, she was Sacramentan. You know, she's been here for quite a few years. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So had you been here to visit her at least?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay.
And when you're in Vermont, you know, where there's lush trees and beautiful, we lived in a town, Woodstock, Vermont, which is considered one of the most beautiful towns in the country. That's debatable. To come to Sacramento, I was like, this is the city of trees. So my you know, my first impressions of Sacramento during a drought were not the best. You know? So,
yeah.
But winter, I'm loving it. No winter, you know.
Yes.
Winter is terrible in Vermont. So we're good.
You've been here for a summer because the summers are just.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I lived in Texas for years, so I'm okay with the summers. Yeah.
It's all you can do is just, you know, thank God you have internet and live inside your house for a few months at a time. So, okay. So the interesting thing, honestly, is that you had the skill set and there was a job that was open in this area.
Really sort of freaky. Really, yeah, I had seen the job posting and I was like, nope, happy where I am. And it's hard to find someone with the skill set that understands marketing, branding, fundraising, and television, the technical side of television and radio. So yeah, they were lucky.
They were totally lucky. And Ashley, you shared something with me. I want to share it right now, Steve. And Steve's our engineer who's hiding in the background, and you guys never get to see him. So woohoo, Steve. But when you applied for the job and the video that you made, the fact that you could throw that together for a job application, whereas it's something that the organization could probably have taken 6 months to consider and think about before they even started pulling any footage.
It was a really long weekend.
Access, but I know nonprofits. I know sometimes things.
I just stole imagery from their video on demand system, and they wanted me to make a fake presentation to a Rotary. And I thought, oh, public access seems like it's slow. And this is a great public access station. It's got a lot more energy than people realize.
Yeah. So check it. Any of you guys that are watching, check it carefully, because in, what is it, 1 minute?
It's only 30 seconds.
Oh, it's only 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I
it
probably
feels longer.
Yeah. People that I knew and was like excited by that. So
Great.
We're going to go ahead and pop that on. Nicely done. I mean, for a 30-second clip for something that you don't know anything about.
If you can get rid of your kitchen garbage.
Oops, here, let me turn that off. Right. It was a shot in the dark. And it's funny because we had to do a PowerPoint presentation as well. And some of the board criticized that my PowerPoint presentation wasn't, jazzy enough. I was just like, I did a lot in a weekend. Trust me. That was,
Oh my gosh. All right.
just-
Well, I hope
they
you're
don't
all
understand.
watching and supporting. So you'll have to quiz them to make sure that they paid attention to the show and everything.
It's good. It's
But
all good.
I know working with boards, it's so difficult just because you have creative people, you have the business side, and in addition to it, from a nonprofit standpoint, you've got the board, and that is 3 really difficult plates to juggle at the same time. I totally applaud you for doing that, because
We're looking, Lori, we're looking
a
for
whole
more.
lot less. I mean, we don't have facilities, and we don't have people, and we don't have staff, and payroll, things like that.
Lots of payroll. So we are looking for at least 3. We're going to lose 3 board members this year. They've been with us forever. You can rotate, I think, every 2 years. You can get an extension up to 6 years, but then it's mandatory that you take a year off. So yikes, 3 of my board members are going to be going bye-bye, and I really could use some people who understand that the board's responsibility is to raise funds. So if anyone's interested, I am all ears. So.
Well, I think, in general, if anybody's interested and you don't know enough about the work that Access does, we're going to talk about it today, but seeing it in person is the best possible opportunity. Just what they have done, what they can do, and what they're working with. But it's a tough climb, I think, for everybody who's asking for money.
Yeah.
How did you guys do on the Day of Giving? Was that
We're going to try really hard this year, but the bottom line is you pretend you're not competing with other nonprofits, but people are going to donate to cancer and puppies and women's shelters, and they're not thinking about free speech. They're not thinking about what we're protecting for them. So we need a few people who really understand that we're an economic engine, that we help people with job skills so that they can go on and get a real job. So we as a matter of fact, we have 3 people who work for the Sacramento Kings. Others have gone on to professional baseball. The ones that participate in our big truck. They learn in the studio how to use studio equipment, and then they go to our big truck high school live games and hone their skills and go on to get real jobs. So
that doesn't even count the people that get involved in PCS that aren't active members of Access to the point where they're taking the classes and they're utilizing the services. I mean, they get their movie made during that program, but sometimes they kind of peel off.
Right.
And I don't think I know anybody who is an independent filmmaker based out of the Sacramento region, and I'll say, through 2 or 3 counties at least, that haven't had some involvement in a PCS film. So, you're not even tapping into that industry to find out who's doing what,
Right.
like for real, after having that bit of experience to fuel them at the very start. So,
well, didn't you start, Lori, with PCS?
I did. I didn't know anything about making movies. All I knew was butter on my popcorn. I had a friend that was interested, and so I heard this call for volunteers on the radio, and showed up for the cast and crew call. And it was in 2001.
Cool.
2000. And it was the second year. It was the second year of PCS, actually. And so, we listened to all the different pitches, and it was something that was just really so interesting. But I had no idea where I fit into that mix at all. And I knew I didn't want to be an actor, but, as far as what crew, I don't know. Like, I guess I want to be a director because I like being the boss. I don't know. So I went up to the one of the guys who pitched a story, the director who pitched a story on behalf of the writer, because she had actually submitted 2 films that year. Both of them won. Or
wow.
Year, both of them won. And so he was talking to everybody, and I went up to him and I literally said, I don't know anything about making movies, but I can make coffee and I can make phone calls, and I'm sure I can help somewhere. And so it was at that point they said, okay, we're going to put you in charge of casting.
Wow.
And I had no idea what I was doing, but everything I did, I learned. Every minute I spent on set, I came in like helping in however way I can in whatever department. And then we lost our production manager, and the director said to me, would you like to be the production, manager? We don't have anybody do that now. I said, well, I don't even know what that means, but if you could tell me, I'm sure I can follow your direction. And so that was how I really finished up the very first film that I worked on. I became the production manager.
Cool. More than coffee, right?
One of those aha moments, which you don't have very often in your life, where you do something and for the first time you go, oh my gosh, I dig this. I'm supposed to be doing this. I want to do it again. And it's been like a snowball, because since that short film, I have, just in brief, because this isn't about me, I have produced over 20 films, including feature films and music videos and short films in commercial documentaries. And in addition to that, left a day job of 20 years to go work in the film industry as an executive in distribution for several years. And none of that would have taken place if I hadn't walked into that Access cast and crew call. So what we're talking about today, everybody, if you don't know where you fit in, or if you think you want to fit in a different way, this is a great place to go in and check it out and see where you can find a way to connect, because I did, and it just cracks me up, because everything that I do now, I'm like so pro Access, because I know sometimes that one link,
Well, that's it. We really are, when you say grassroots, we're really grassroots. We're trying to give people, there's experienced people who participate year after year, bravo. And there's people who have never participated or tried being a PA and want to try something else, and they want to hold the boom, or they want to stand on an apple box, whatever it is they want to do. And all we ask is that the volunteers, if you're going to volunteer, see it through. They're notorious for losing staff, losing volunteers. So we really want people who want to see it through and help a production be made.
Yeah, the first one that I did, we had our director or we had no the director of photography and all of the crew, and then they got a paid gig, and they
Yeah.
were available. And I've learned that rules everything in this
That's too bad, so sad, right? And
with the independent, gang. And so you do have to learn to be very flexible when that kind of stuff happens. On the other hand, we as associations that do nothing more than want to see filmmakers succeed, I can't help but being so excited when they get a gig, even if it screws them out of doing something that they were donating, or doing less
yeah,
fee
it's
for.
it's a problem, but that's something that always seems to get resolved,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
And if the filmmaker comes and panics at us, because we want to see them succeed, we'll help figure out a way. We'll call in people and figure out a way to help them finish their film. We don't want to have to, but we try to, without investing money, we try to be as supportive as possible with workshops and opportunities. And we hope that anyone who's watching this will participate next Wednesday. I mean, obviously, you're going to air this after the date, but that's May 4th. And it's at 6 p.m. at the Coloma Community Center on T Street in Sacramento. And the building is sort of like a horseshoe, and the back of the building, there's a big lawn, and we're going to be hanging out on the lawn, and hopefully it won't be the one day that there's rain. It's because we're going to be out there.
Oh, from 6 to 8 p.m. too, y'all.
Right.
So, and if you're actors, bring your headshots. You'll want to be able to hand those out if you've got anything that's got your digits on it,
Right.
or anything for crew.
Right.
Whatever you can hand out, that's a good time to do it.
We're also going to do I guess you could call it a video audition. It's not really a full audition. Basically, you create a slate for yourself. You step before our camera. You tell us what you're interested in, how you're interested in participating, so that we have a visual of you, as well as you go to the table of the individual filmmaker who you're most interested in working with. So there's two ways to sort of make contact, but we'd love for you to hop in front of do a video audition just in front of the brick wall. It's not complicated, but the minute you get there, you can start doing those. You don't have to wait for our tiny presentation. You can just do the video audition straight away. We want to keep things going. We don't want to keep people there too long.
Yeah.
And Lori, your organization, you're going to be there, right?
Yeah, we'll be there. So any questions that they have, one of the things I want to make sure all of y'all, the PCS winners, congratulations, by the way. I want to make sure that all of you know, if there is something that you're lacking, if there is a crew member, a cast member, a location, a piece of equipment, you never know who's out there that might be able to fit, that need. So if you reach out to the CFAA, and our website is capitalfilmarts.org, you can go there, and virtually any contact information, info at, or marketing at, or Lori at, all of those will come to me in some capacity, and just let me know that, hey, I am looking for a location, or I am looking for. What I want you to do is send me the specifics of exactly what you're looking for and how people can communicate with you if they're interested. And then we can share that through our newsletter, through our social media, and the different ways that we have to just kind of make sure our audience of over 5,000 people can chime in to help if they haven't already, attended the cast and crew call or something like that.
We actually have one film that's going to be very challenging to cast, because it's about a family, right, of people who are South Asian. And I was like, well, what culture exactly? And she's like, we'll just say South Asian. I was like, is that the Philippines, or is it the southern, China, or, like, I can narrow it down for me. So we asked her to create a one sheet so that she could try to find these people to act so they seem like a family. It's an interesting script. It actually got the judges loved it. And it's about, they have 3 days to bury mom's ashes, and there's a little family mystery surrounding it. It's called The Mystery of the Sacramento River. So
Huh.
it's got a good twist at the end. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good tease. There's
Yeah.
a fun movie that now you know. Have we announced winners
I
anywhere?
did. It's funny. My team think when things are done a certain way all the time, and I changed the process. I've moved their cheese, and they're like, "Well, wait, you can't announce this beforehand, before the event." I'm like, "Yes, actually, I can. We're trying to get people there."
Yeah, I think that helps, and I think everybody that won should be able to, my God, promote that and share that they are going to need help and they will be at this event. I know Chris Wallace is here online, and he's one of the winners, so I wanted to say congratulations, Chris. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say that or not, but
Absolutely.
yeah,
We launched it. We want them to have as much time as possible to find their cast and crew. And I think the criticism in the past, the reason why they made it a surprise at the cast and crew call was because the minute you find out who is a filmmaker, actors and crew are like, "Can I be on your team? Can I be on your team?" And then there wouldn't be as many people as at our cast and crew event, which makes us feel Access Sacramento feel less successful. So to me, it's not about our ego; it's about helping them succeed in every way possible. I might change the process back next year, but to me, it's like, let's get it out there and let's get.
Well, if you get them, any of you filmmakers that are watching, you need to support, you need to invest interest in your project, because not only do you want to get as many people physically at that event, but and support Access in this, but by the time the films are done and the screenings are taking place, you're going to want to have that audience packed with people that are your fans that can vote for your film in the fan favorite portion of the competition. I mean, it's no fun unless you have everybody in the theater with you cheering you on.
Yeah, it's more of a magical evening when you have a full house. And this last year, it was hell to get into the Crest and to even have a live audience. And my board basically said, "Oh no, we can't have more than 200 people in there because we might be considered a COVID, spreader." And I was like, "It's a seat of 900 people. It's okay. We could have more." And so it was sort of a sad situation. So this year, we're going to try to do a hybrid. We're going to try to get as many people who could feel comfortable in the theater, because this is one of our few fundraisers for our nonprofit. But we're also going to hybrid it where a pay-per-view, if it's technically possible in the Crest, so that grandma in Des Moines can watch it as well. So we're hoping that all the filmmakers have the opportunity to spread it to all their, fans and relatives. And
history repeats itself, and if the theater can open up to capacity, which is 975, by the way.
Really?
Oh yeah. And Kurt Cobain's footprints are down in the basement too, so I'll show you.
You'll have to show me. Yeah.
But when when that happens and we can open it up again, I will tell you that PCS is one of the events that always pack that house.
Good.
Always pack that
house. We're hopeful.
Yes.
We could seriously use the fundraiser, but it's the thing. These are our peeps. We want to have a good time, and we really want to celebrate the filmmakers and the people who were invested in the production of the piece. Probably one of the things, though, that makes them squirm is after they've created their film, they want to go off to other film festivals, and we are going to air it on television. This might be a problem for some of the filmmakers because we're a television distribution network, right? So we, I need to make it really clear to the filmmakers that we're going to shoot the actual presentation of the films and the awards afterwards, and the voting and all that. So we have a good time, but yeah, we're not closing it down. We're not going to hold it for a year before we show it on television.
Yeah. Well, listen,
It is what it is.
it is what it is. You get what you get and you don't pitch a fit. It's something I think that people are just uh, eager, itching to really just get out and make something. And at one point in our community, we had not only Access Sacramento, but the Sacramento Film and Music Festival, which has discontinued since COVID. But they hosted a filmmaking competition, a 10 by 10. Filmmakers had 10 days to make a 10-minute movie. They did the
In there. I've done a bunch of 48-hour ones, and you're like, you're dead.
48 hours, they're for shit. You can't do anything in 48 hours. I'm sorry.
We did a really good one in Vermont, which I loved. We put on a 48-hour floating competition. So you had a month and a half, and you could pick the 48 hours that you wanted to produce.
Oh, that's kind of smart.
It is, and they would call me. They'd be like, okay, Friday night, we're gonna start. And so I'd give them my personal cell, and they would call me, and I'd be waiting by the phone, and I would tell them the line of copy they had to incorporate in their film,
Okay.
and a prop.
Humane. That's a lot more humane.
It is, because they would be ready.
It's like the work that people have to do in that short amount of time. But the 10 by 10 they loved. Sac Music Scene was one where we combined local musicians with local filmmakers to make original music videos. The PCS films, all of those are programs where our community came out in droves because they loved to play in this arena together.
Good.
And then they loved to celebrate that work when we had that opportunity to have those public screenings and festivals and events. So, we are super excited about anything that can happen that will bring everybody back to that level of connectivity.
That'd be great. I will even buy a sequin dress if we fill that house, and you'll never see me in sequins. It's just
okay.
A production person, behind the scenes person. So yeah, I challenge that house to be full.
Oh wow! Okay, that sounds like something on the table there. Yeah, I've seen it happen, and I think getting people excited about it is already something that it drives that. But the fact that we haven't been able to do it for over 2 years, it's going to bring, I think, more people than ever out, just because there isn't any other physical activity that is at this point that I'm aware of going to allow this creative community to kind of connect together.
Yeah,
So
it's funny. I gotta give accolades to the last group of a place called Sacramento Filmmakers. They were interrupted, and then they, can they start? Can they start? Can they start? And then they had COVID, scenarios while they were filming, so it was dangerous to people's health. But we proceeded and actually finished their films, and they were some of the best films that, because although they had 2 years to finish it, they really didn't, because they had a lot of time to think about their camera angles and what they wanted to communicate. And so when they executed, the execution was brilliant. I thought that you could see them on our website, accesssacramento.org. It's probably says a place called Sacramento in our video on demand system. But I was so impressed by the quality of the productions. I was blown away, considering they didn't have much time to produce it. I just think they had a lot of time to think about what they were going to produce.
Yeah.
And then they executed well.
Well, I'll tell you, I wish there was a way that you could systematically go back from the beginning and look at the content that's being created now, because the last time we had a physical screening at the Crest, it was like a proud parent moment where, I just was.
That sounds like
That's my mother. Like,
Oh, that sounds like a pratfall of something or a spit take or like what should happen next.
I gave her an emergency number that would override, but you know what? I'm busy, Mom. Uh,
She might have fallen and she can't get up. You should probably take it. That's
you
an emergency.
don't say that.
Oh,
Um,
I'm sorry. Knock wood.
no, no, it won't be. But yeah, I'm super excited to see what people are doing.
Me
I
too.
hope, seeing what can be done originally, and then where those people develop and where their skills go is one of my favorite things ever. That's one of the things that we used to dig so much about the 10 by 10s and the Sac music scene, and we see it somewhat with the PCS, but they often, that's kind of a springboard to doing other things.
Yeah.
And that was to see the original work of people that are now working and making a name for themselves in the industry, and yet their first gig was doing something free and pushing around a shopping cart because you didn't have a dolly kind of production.
Still doing that. Hey, I did want to mention, so sort of a roadblock that, when I came to Access, there were all these roadblocks. And to me, it's all about access, right? You're trying to give access to people. And so filmmakers who make like one short film, they put it on YouTube, a few thousand people or a few hundred people see it, and then they don't have good distribution. That's where it sits. And so I want to invite them that you don't have to be a member for that one movie that you've produced. If you'd like to send it to me, I review it for, content. Is it work with the FCC guidelines, and is it good audio? And I'm similar to a librarian, where the librarians put their favorite books out on the end cap and say, hey, this is a favorite. So if you don't want to be a member, but you want to give me your film, send it to me. And if I agree that it's good quality, we'll air it on Channel 17, which is the local SAC channel. And then it goes on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, all our various, our website, all our various distribution networks. So first and foremost, the Access Sacramento is a local distribution platform for the people of Sac County to use an alternate distribution network. And
I want
yes.
to clarify really quickly, just because there is no place for short content. Are you accepting short content?
Yes.
All right. That's what I want to make that point.
Right. So if I get enough of it, we will turn it into a little film hour, or, if we get a lot of it, maybe we do a week-long thing, always at 7:00 in the evening, like depending on what we get and how we get it, we'll turn it into something that people will stop and watch. Right. I'd happily take old shorts.
So if you've got shorts, if you've got a feature that's not, you're not doing anything with it, and you would love to have it seen to aggregate an audience, a fan of your work, nobody's going to hand you $100,000, but it may be something that at least you can take some pride in, people going, dude, I saw that on this.
Yeah, we can give it a second life. I was very successful in my last station, where I would troll YouTube, University of the Vermont Law School. I'm like, hey, I love your series on African Americans and the law. Do you want to air it on? And they'd be like, oh, can we air it on your TV channel as well? I'm like, yep, we'd love to have it. So the idea is, we're trying to encourage originality. We're trying to encourage localism, right? We're the people who make the county great, but also this would be a segue, Lori, to your organization, because our relationship makes it, if you're not in Sac County, being part of the Capital Film Arts Alliance, let's say you're not directly part of Sac County, we waive that, right? So that the relationship, so you could possibly air, if you're a member of your organization, you could possibly become a member of our organization, Right.
Yeah, that's been something we established that a lot of years ago, have had a lot of people that have benefited from being able to skirt under that. Some of the things that I know you've also talked about doing with Access. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about, the membership and why that's important and what you get for that. But I think that what's interesting about you is you're approaching it from a whole different set of eyeballs, and you're thinking about opportunities for what can you put out there that doesn't require a membership or that doesn't necessitate,
Right. So
being a member if all they want to do is have an audition space for a half a day or whatever the case
right.
may be.
Just ideally, we love everyone to be a member. It's $60 a year for an adult, 40 for I think a senior and a high schooler. But the reason why we need to support, we survive off of cable subscriber fees. Well, everyone's cutting the cord on cable, so our finances, our financial future is in jeopardy, right? So we're positioning ourselves as a traditional nonprofit. We're begging for donations. Okay, so you see a lot. Forgive us, but that's how we want to survive. So membership is a good thing. And what you get for it is you get access to the whole Adobe suite if you work in our brand new media lab with our beautiful Macs. So you have that sort of access. You also have access to once a month use the television studio if you've taken the television studio class, because we don't fish for you, we teach you to fish, right? So you go through a class, you find out, and I don't mean one class, a class is actually 6 episodes. So you learn all the equipment and then you create your show. So,
Nice.
but you can also, let's say you're not a member and you want us to help you create a show, you can rent us and we can do that. Well, a lot of people do that. They don't have time to learn how to use the studio. They just want to be the content creator. So you can rent the studio instead. Also, if you're a member and you just need the studio space to like do an interview, like documentarians will say, we just need your black screen. I have my own equipment. I'm just going to set up here and use your studio. You can do that as well. We also have basic video equipment. We have 4K cameras, well, they're camcorders. They're not interchangeable lenses. So 4K camcorders and basic, field equipment, tripods, audio, lights. Our lights are LED now, and you can borrow all that. So for $60, you can keep borrowing equipment. One of the things we're doing this year is we're coming up with a comprehensive library of what equipment we have available for you to borrow. And one of our goals this coming year is to buy, gimbals and jibs and things, armature and sliders, so that things you don't necessarily want to buy, you have your favorite camera, but you don't necessarily have all the little whiz bang things that can move your camera from one place to the next. So I'm hoping that this next fiscal that we can purchase some of these items so that the sort of beginning independent filmmakers can borrow it free. It's free after you pay your membership. So those are cool things that we have going on. And if you really like to do podcasts, you could be a radio producer. We have a split frequency radio station. It's very popular. A lot of independent radio producers. Just thought I'd throw KUBU in there.
No, I think, you know what? I think that people neglect all of the different ways that you can utilize, because realistically, you can learn it, you can apply it, you can create something, and then you can have it aired,
Yeah.
Like there's not those kind of opportunities for $60 a year.
Right.
That many people could hope. And granted, you get you get out of it what you put into it. So
Right.
if you're going to join, then tap that and share all of those benefits and take advantage of them. so that at least you've had a chance to kind of taste everything. I found my first time on set where I thought I wanted to be a director, remember, because I thought because it'd be a boss. I got on set and it instantly went, oh, that is not me. I don't know anything about that, but man, I can do a spreadsheet and I know how to boss people around and put things in the right place. And I'm a producer.
Yeah.
Well, it
Good
wasn't until I got on set to see what else was going on that I realized what the best fit for me was. Some people come on as a PA. We're trying to supplement the education of all of our entry level production people. So that now that we have a film commissioner in Sacramento, and Jennifer West is doing her best to bring production here and to grow production here. We need to make sure that we're getting people trained in the right capacities.
Yeah. When I lived in Connecticut, it was very successful. The state of Connecticut partnered with Quinnipiac University. Quinnipiac is where, whenever you hear politics talking about, polls, their students do all the polling. It's a terrible, terrible thing. But, it's a little rich university, and they would do summer programs for adults where they do a production, and you could be either camera or you could DP, or so there were like 10 people on your team learning the same skill set. So every summer you could learn a new skill set. And what ended up happening is they ended up with a base of people who had great skills, but it was an investment on the state and the university's part to make that happen. But I learned a lot from those opportunities.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think again, I tell people in the CFAA world, every time I'm talking, I'm like, you get out of it what you put into it. Yeah. Whatever it is, if we have an event, if you have a chance to meet people, if you sit there and wait for them to come to you, you're never going to get anything out of it. So find a way to tell your story and to, figure out who is the next best connection you can make to growing what it is you want to do.
But don't oversell yourself. I've worked with many a young man who's like, oh, I know how to use that. I know how to use that. And I go, okay, show me. And then they're like, I was like, it's funny. I was on a set and it was a very bizarre hybrid camera. They took a Panasonic camcorder body and they managed to sleeve it with prime lenses. And I'm more of a camera person. So I immediately figured out, went to all the catalogs and the instruction manuals and printed them out and figured it out because I knew I was going to be on set. And amazing. They had a problem with the camera and everyone's like, And I was like, well, and somebody's like, how did you know that? It's like, because I read the damn manual. I have it right here, So one of them was a winter shoot and everybody's like, I don't understand why the battery is dying so quickly. I'm like, well, that battery only has 278 minutes and that's not below freezing. It's going to be diminished by 43% or something like that. So just learn the stuff and don't be a faker, because there's a lot of people who just try to wing it in film and you don't get asked back.
Nope. And my personal credo is never, ever, ever overpromise and underdeliver, because you only look stupid. You never can recover from that. And even if you don't want to acknowledge that's what you're doing, that's the worst possible thing that you can do. Let other people share your success stories. Don't be the one to, promote yourself for something that you haven't even done yet.
Since I've been here, people are big on self-promotion. I was like, wow, that's the difference between East Coast and West Coast. There's other people sing your praises on the East Coast. There's many a times that I've never had to really IMDb. I've never really had to LinkedIn, because you just, if you're a good crew member, you're quiet, you're calm under pressure. You know what you're doing. Gigs come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, truly. I think that is one of the best lessons that anybody starting out can learn is don't be afraid to say, I don't know, because you can learn it and always say, yes, you're willing to.
Yeah.
That's just,
And Access doesn't train you up on how to be a great filmmaker. Really, you have to sort of be an autodidact. You have to be able to watch video presentations and then take equipment and practice. And so we have equipment that you can practice on. Um, and if it's not the exact red camera that you want, like practice on what's available to you. Because if you get a variety of equipment under your belt, if you go out and shoot B-roll around Sacramento, we'll accept that B-roll. We'll end up using it for something if you went out and shot some cool B-roll.
yes.
So the end result is, work with what you have and work really hard with what you have and come up with creative things like your shooting or your angles or you know, there's so many things you could do with a camera. So,
You involved in any kind of narrative type of filmmaking, film production?
right now,
No, ever. I
oh,
mean,
yeah. Actually, I did a lot of work that I've never been able to promote. I would do it privately because I was working with Larry Spangler. That's how he talked. Larry was he was a producer of a couple of TV shows in the 70s, and he was he was building Broadway musicals. And to get promoters, he would create videos, or he would have me create videos. And these would be promotional videos to like Texas Millionaires, and like they were only seen. So we could do a lot of stealing because I knew it wasn't going to be on YouTube. So they were compilations, sort of like collages, original shooting and taking things to create ambiance. And then with Larry, I also did. Like a Dr. Oz of veterinarians. There's a vet who is Martha Stewart's and Oprah's vet, saved Oprah's dogs' lives or something like that. And they were trying to turn him into a television show. So we shot a lot of pretend pilots. I worked with John Ratzenberger, Cliff from what do you call it?
here's
From Cheers, right? He lived in the area, and I worked with him on a Quinnipiac project. And of the 10 people that were the camera students, I was the one who ended up working with them. And he was actually trying to create a pilot for his wife, super charming woman, very quirky, brilliant woman, but like just really sexy looking. And he was trying to get a show, I think, on one of the men's channels, but it was a cooking show. It was her cooking at their beach house all the time, and he got to play the grumpy husband. So I worked with him on some projects. Yeah, and they're not things I would, they're just things I would show people. I don't need to advertise them because they're just professional pieces that were promotional. They're basically trying to push a pilot.
yeah.
So not your traditional film, more promotional.
Right. Oh, interesting. So you'll learn kind of a lot of that narrative uh, process, I guess. It's a whole different.
Yeah, there's a different, but yeah, I've done a couple of things and some
And I believe it was Chris, I think, that was the one that was telling me this, Chris, that he brought his PCS script to our screenwriter lab that we hold on the fourth Thursday of every month. And they helped him kind of just polish it to the point where it was submitted successfully and it won. And so that, again, made me feel like, okay, I love it that we can
have
make
some impact.
connection,
Yeah.
make sure that he's putting his best foot forward and any way that we can we can support that, we are all about it. And we'll definitely be there at the cast and crew call so that we can share a little bit, about who we are and what we do. Before you came to town, so we were founded, the CFAA, we founded in 2004. And in recent years, we've been having in-person meetings every Tuesday. We had an actors group, a filmmakers group, and a writers group. And so the opportunity for those groups to connect physically was an incredible amount of success that we found, and satisfaction too. And so, we hope to be able to get back to that. But when you see what we're actively doing now, we're still crawling back out of that hole and haven't quite.
So are we.
Yeah.
I don't have any edit instructors set up yet because my digital media lab is just almost ready for that. So, yeah.
So other than board members, are you hiring anybody at Access right now in paid?
I do need a couple of edit teachers who might work on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. I think Saturday or Sunday are the times that people are most available to learn basic editing. But I'd really like to we do basic level classes. If anyone has a really creative idea, like I'm really great at Photoshop and I know how to do this, but like put patterns inside of text really well, like I'd like to do workshops. And if somebody has a forte, that's the workshop I'd like to present. And we wouldn't have classes more than about 6 people, six to 7 people. And the idea is to just generate creativity, right? Because a filmmaker understanding Photoshop, understanding the basics of maybe After Effects or motion, those are all really big pluses in their titling. And I find that filmmakers tend to learn about editing and not always about those sort of other pieces of software that make your film look super cool.
Yeah.
So I'm up for ideas.
Okay.
And I can't pay a lot. That's the issue when we charge next to nothing,
in a perfect world, we can serve as, mentors when we have that time and ability. And so sometimes you just need to get asked in the right way at the right time. And hopefully everybody do we have 9 films or 10 films this year?
Originally I wanted 9 this year, but we had to squeeze Chris's in. I was like right on the border. His points were right next to the next person. I was like, okay, we're doing 10.
Oh, I love that. Listen to that, Chris. Isn't that cool?
So his was the squeak in. Okay. So and it's funny, 2 filmmakers who did not get in this year, but who have been successful PCS filmmakers in the past, like very successful. There was a lot of close numbers on the judges this year. Both of them had said, we're going to produce our piece anyway. And I just want them to know after they've done the film circuit that they have a platform here. And one of them is about suicide. And I was like, we can totally do a in-studio episode talking about suicide prevention, show your film. I just want people to know that they can be supported in other ways by us. So if you have ideas and you need support, if we have the bandwidth, we'll try to support you.
Yeah. That's good to know. That's good to know. And, the reality of your judging is that it is completely anonymous and it is completely, there is no, other than the fact, like you said, where you've got films that their final points are hinging and you can make that choice to go from 9 to 10, which for years it was 10. So I don't know when it.
Yeah. 10 is a hard fit on the poster. 10 is once you start, 9 works balance wise. 10 is difficult.
Artistic preference. Yeah, I get that.
And plus it's a longer evening, but people say sometimes they start and, they have to drop out. It's funny, last 2 years ago when we had a last PCS, well, we have somebody who submitted a film 2 years ago, our last PCS, and won, but they got pregnant and couldn't execute, and in COVID, you know, so they couldn't execute it, right? So they dropped out. And so we invited them to submit their script again, and the judges liked it again. And so they're going to actually finish their script this year into a film. So I'm very excited for that person.
Oh, good. I can't say. Have we published the list of the
Yeah,
winners?
yeah, we have.
Okay.
I don't have it right here, but it's on our website.
Okay, cool. I will share that as soon as I can get offline and deal with that. And
Yeah,
we're
the winners.
it's a come by y'all thing. You know, we want to see what we can do to support you.
Cool.
We want your members to become CFAA members. We want to be able to, you know, find all kinds of different ways that we can make this an inclusive, creative community. Whether it's they make one film and they just have a really fun experience, or whether they have that aha moment that many of us have had working with PCS, working with Access. And we definitely need to get out and see each other in person. We definitely need to connect and make sure you're introduced to, you know, all the cool kids that are out in our region.
I don't know any of the cool kids yet.
All right, buddy, we'll introduce you.
That's good.
We'll get you out.
That's great. And Lori, I just really appreciate the organization that you've created and all that synergy. You know, I love your workshops. So I look forward to you getting back to that.
Totally. Your voice to God's ears. Yeah, it'll happen. Okay, cool. So good luck with the PCS place called Sacramento. Again, cast and crew call Wednesday, May 4th, 6 to 8 p.m. We've got it on our site. She's got it on her site. We got it everywhere. So
it's all good.
I hope that everybody can make it out there and introduce yourself to Donna. And we'll hang out, girl. We'll do something here real soon.
Good. I could use a stiff drink after being here.
Well, you could, you know, here you could use some friends. My God, you moved.
Right. It is a weird, isolating.
A pandemic shutdown.
It's been odd. And please feel free to wear a mask if you come to the cast and crew call. We're mask friendly.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, we're I think establishing what's what, and the bad thing in a casting situation is that that mask really does not help in the casting environment.
Often you do. We're a mask building. Well, not building. We're a mask office. A few of us have gotten COVID, so we're very sensitive to closed places. And so when we're in this TV studio, everyone's wearing a mask. Action, they take it off. They talk, they put it back on. So we want to make sure we don't all get sick again. So.
Yes, totally. Yeah. Okay. And so the dates and time tomorrow, no, I'm sorry, Wednesday, May 4th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the Coloma Center, which is something T Street.
It's 4623 T Street in the Elmhurst area of Sacramento.
Okay, excellent. All right, we hope to see you all there. Thanks again.
All right.
Nice getting to know you a little bit more, and we'll add to that as we go.
That's great. I appreciate that.
All right.
Bye, everyone, and anyone who's been watching.
Yes, thanks, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, next week.
Next week.